Hello everyone, welcome back to more Let's Play Seduce Me! This time around we're still doing Erik's route. Last time we left off, Naomi and Susie were out outside of the door, and Matthew was on its way to open the door, and we scream out, "Matthew, don't!" What shall come and happen next? Let us find out. But before my words could reach his ears, Matthew had opened the door and revealed the surprised faces of Naomi and Suzu. Shit. Been spotted. What do we do, boys? What do we do? The world around me stopped as Suzu and Naomi kept their eyes on Matthew, who merely stared back in fear and embarrassment. I could feel the air go from warm to freezing in a matter of seconds.
Hi?
I could not believe this was happening. How was I going to explain this? This week was already bad enough. To make matters worse, I was frozen in place. Please, for God's sake, someone do something other than stand there!
Who are you?
Somebody broke the tension finally. Suzu, let me explain.
What's going on here?
I said I'll explain, goddammit!
Who's at the door, Matthew? Oh.
Soon the other incubi appeared in the lobby with us. The situation was not getting pretty. I had to think fast. Since they're all brothers, they're my brothers!
They're your brothers? Since when did you have brothers?
They're my long-lost brothers. Dad had to get rid of them for, reasons? It was no use. There was no time to lie to them. I felt helpless. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder. I felt the tension in my body almost fade away. I turned my head to see James smile at me before stepping in front of me.
We must apologize, ladies. We know this situation must be confusing for everyone. Let's take this to the dining room and we'll explain everything.
Well said, man. I stared at James wide-eyed. Was he going to tell him who they were? Everything seemed surreal. Before I knew it, I was led to the dining room along with Suzu and Naomi, and sat across from their confused gazes. As Naomi and Suzu sat down, Erik and Matthew placed their untouched plates of food in front of them, surprising their guests.
Whoa, this looks amazing!
Oh, no, what happened? Oh god, what happened? Oh god damn it, really? Fuck. Hold on a sec, I'll be right back.
Amazing!
Okay, we're back. This time we're not gonna push the skip button. Frickin' mouse, what do you think you're doing? Hitting the skip button? I'm trying to record here. God. Ugh. Frickin' mouse. Think it knows everything. Think it knows what I want it to do? No, I had to control it. Seriously, mouse is rude.
Thank you!
Our pleasure, ladies. We hope you enjoy your meal.
Make sure you dig in!
I looked at Naomi and Suzu as they began to eat, visibly enjoying every bite they placed in their mouth. Hopefully the food would ease their minds for whatever James wanted to reveal. As Naomi and Suzu ate their impromptu meals, James and the other boys stood behind my chair, making me grow more red in the face.
So, Anderson, are you gonna tell us what's going on?
Well, you see, Gently James placed a hand on my shoulder again, signaling me to just eat my food. As I began to eat, he spoke to Naomi and Suzu.
We are Miss Anderson's house servants. We were hired by her late grandfather to help around the mansion, but since he has passed, we now assist Miss Anderson with living on her own.
That makes sense. It's such a huge house.
A huge house for a wonderful princess such as Miss Anderson deserves the greatest of servants to care for it.
But why are you all dressed so casually and stuff? Aren't servants supposed to have uniforms or whatever?
Ooh, she brings up a good question.
Well, Miss Anderson allows us to get comfy while we work, so she lets us wear casual clothes.
Well said. Everybody, well said.
Yeah, something like that.
Sam, I swear to God.
We're sorry if we made the situation awkward earlier.
We're very sure that Miss Anderson is also still getting used to having us as her servants. It would be very hard to explain after just a day.
I guess.
So, if I may ask, What brings you two ladies here?
Well, we wanted to see how our friend was doing. Since it's the weekend and all, usually we hang out and just chill.
Yeah, like going to the arcade and stuff.
Or the Pink Lady Cafe.
There's an arcade?
That makes a lot of sense, ladies. Well, we don't wish to disturb you any further than we have, so we'll take our leave and start preparing the house.
Well smooth, James. Well smooth.
Huh? Preparing for what?
We gotta prep the house for some sort of housewarming party thing.
Our princess's parents requested a housewarming party to be held here soon.
And by soon, they mean tonight.
Oh, well, I guess we can help out or something. Right, Naomi?
I thought you wanted to go to the arcade.
This housewarming thing is more important.
Aw, Suzu, you're so nice. Sacrificing video games just to help a housewarming party for a friend? That's the power of friendship, everybody. That's the power of friendship.
No need. We can handle it. If you'd like to, miss, you can go out with your friends while we handle things here.
Seriously?
Sam, not now.
Yeah, listen to Davy and Sam. Well, I wanted to help out, but at the same time, I wanted to go out with my friends. James gave me a look of understanding, letting me know that if I left, everything would be okay. I had to make a decision. And so we are left with a decision, but we want our lovely Erik to stay by our side forever. And so, we shall stay and help around the house.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Besides, it is my housewarming party. I should help out too.
Want us to help out as well?
I think we got it all taken care of. Thanks though, girls.
Alright, we'll head on out then so we're not in the way.
Sorry guys, I'll hang out with you guys soon.
It's all good, Anderson. We'll definitely come to the housewarming party tonight.
Thank you. Thank God. I led them back into the lobby and walked them to the doors, opening it for them with a thankful smile. They both gave me hugs before walking out to Naomi's car, which was parked in the driveway. And with that, they left. I was happy that they wanted to help, but I had to do this on my own. It was not their work, so I didn't want to force it on them, just because they were my best friends. We had the entire day to work. The party was tonight, and we had to do all we could to make everything right. We sat down and talked about what needed to happen before the party started that night. Each guy had been assigned a different part of the party to do, and right after lunch we began to work. Since everything was taken care of by at least one incubus, James told me I could assist one of them. The question was, who? Oh, Erik! I stayed in the dining room knowing that the table had to become a buffet table. As I looked around the room carefully, I noted that the floor needed waxing and the table surfaces needed major dusting. Erik came up next to me, lowered a small mop and bucket he had brought in onto the floor, and rolled his sleeves up higher on his arms before looking at me with a raised eyebrow.
Are you sure you want to work with me with cleaning this place up? It'll be a lot of cleaning and tidying. Plus, we have to move the chairs to the corner.
I shook my head, rolling up my sleeves and walking to the table, grabbing a hold of a chair. I think I can handle lifting a couple of chairs and moving them. Erik smiled at me with a soft chuckle before following my lead. Eventually, we had moved all the chairs to the corner of the room and had begun cleaning the room and the table. Silence consumed the air as we both focused on cleaning. I decided to start mopping the floor, but as I stepped towards the bucket, my foot rolled over a small, fluffy object, causing me to slip. Ah! Before I hit the floor, however, I wound up in the arms of Erik, staring up at him in a dance-like dip while gripping onto his shirt. His face held pure concern as he held on and looked down at me. That's a concerned face? What is that?
Are you all right, princess?
Let's see. I believe I choose just nod. 'Cause, yeah, we are fine now that we're being held by none other than Erik. Yep, and I was right. The heart activated, so that's good. I'm trying to remember these because I haven't played these in years, but it's kind of... If you sit down and think about it for a little bit, then they're not that hard to figure out. But anyway, all I could do was nod as I stared at Erik. He was genuinely concerned. There was no flirtation or smirk on his face. It was cute to see a new side of him. Erik let out a small sigh in relief.
That's a relief. You didn't twist your ankle, did you?
No, I'm fine. Gently, I felt Erik's arm dip under my knee so he could lift me up bridal style. I gripped tighter onto his shirt before he set me on the table and knelt down to look at my feet. I'm really fine. Erik didn't speak as he gently looked over my ankles, lightly massaging them to test for pain. I didn't feel any pain. I felt pleasure. I bit my lip as Erik gently massaged his fingers over my skin. I'd had foot massages before, but Erik had amazing skill. Each touch and press sent a wave of pleasure running up my spine. I had to fight to hold back a moan. Erik's face, though, didn't shift to any of mischief or seduction. It remained as concerned as ever. He was full of surprises. Eventually, he finished looking over my feet and smiled in relief. He slowly stood up and smiled his usual smile at me with a small giggle.
You were right, Princess. You were fine.
Told you so. Of course, I don't mind being in more situations like that, though. Oh. Erik gently lifted me off the table and lowered me to the floor before placing a swift kiss onto my forehead and continuing his work. I stood there for a moment before slowly walking to the bucket and cleaning as well. My heart continued to pound as we both finished cleaning that room. The hour of the house party had arrived. In my mind, I kept double and triple checking the essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson Company to show me off. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. A knock on my totally read perfectly. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
Alright. Ready or not, here I come. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi and Suzu's face turned from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while. I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me as I walked down the hall to the ground lobby. The incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants.
Whoa, they really know how to dress well, don't they?
Yeah. I was slightly taken aback at how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman. Even Sam. Can we cross this out, please? Please? I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flushed, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down that final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
And once again, doesn't matter what we choose here. I don't know which one I chose last time, so let's choose that one. Hopefully it's a new one. It's not skippable, so I'm assuming that's a new one. I couldn't deny that I was nervous, but I had to try. This party was more than what it seemed, and I had done all that I could prepare for it. Now it was all up to fate. The other boys smiled assuringly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost right on cue, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. Sam and Erik quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys. They didn't ask for verification or anything. I looked to the boys and noticed Sam and Erik staring intently as my parents. Were they using their powers on them? They had to be. There's no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
Well, boys, thank you, thank you. My parents are kind of losers in life, so thank you, thank you. My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It had only been a couple of days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous. You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked to my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
The world around me stopped as my heart pounded in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me? On his own accord? My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Huh, maybe Dad's not such an asshole. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face quickly returned as he began to look around once again. Ah, fuck.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
I take it back. All nice things I said about you, I take it all back. You're a horrible, horrible, horrible dad. What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight. Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential?
To become CEO of the company.
I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked to the incubi, but they were continuing to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Suzu raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. I let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a weight in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden, the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised that night. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a small smile and a handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as maturely as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
And again, this doesn't matter what choice you choose. Why aren't these highlighting?
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Do you have college plans?
I'm not gonna lie, that first question I was asked, I didn't pay attention to what answer I chose, because it didn't... Oh, none of them highlight. That's interesting. There we go. Hopefully that first question didn't screw me. It probably did. I felt like the questions came up after another. It was tough to answer some of them, because they weren't about me. They were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
I'm thirsty. Okay.
Do you think the company should expand from just toys?
I'm gonna leave now. Some of these I will try in a later, but not right now. There we go. Eventually the questions stopped, and I was back to being myself. Naomi and Suzu were mingling in the crowds, and the incubi were doing their jobs, so I was all alone in a room full of strangers. It was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
No, Mom, why'd you introduce me to him? With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
Simply nod to him. Screw you, Andrew. Andrew was slightly taken aback, but gently smiled and lowered his hand with a nod in return. My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Huh? Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
And I'm not even getting paid for this! What the hell? Oh wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. I looked to Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly. Whether it was fear or insult, Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO? I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Whew. Well, you're good for one thing, Dad. Scaring away any potential suitors. And yeah, Andrew, he's a suitor. I don't like it, no. Or at least what I remember hating Andrew. Like, way worse, way worse than Sam. That's how annoying I found it. But, we'll get there eventually in good time. Someday, over the rainbow. Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. Yeah. We ain't following him. Screw that. And yes, this does matter. So we have to stay kaput if we want the incubi to stay with us. Specifically, our beloved Erik. We're here for Erik, guys. Screw Andrew. Fuck Andrew. God, I hate Andrew. I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him his space. He obviously needed it.
He's not CEO material.
That's because you practically interrogated the young man.
A little questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our company.
Damn. I bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. One wrong word and he'd lecture me in front of everyone. That was not something that I wanted at my housewarming party. I let outside before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out the window and saw a limo pull up. Huh? Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Yes, Mom. My mother left my dad and me to slowly escort the guests out. My dad held his simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the doors before I could speak. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad suddenly walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder with a smile. I stared up at him in a wave of confusion washing over my face. What?
You did good tonight. I'm proud.
Oh. Thank you, Dad.
Keep it up, and you'll be a good CEO.
Oh. Right.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Aw, come on. Oh, right.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Right. See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
Will do. All four of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad waving back to me. With the last of the guests gone, I sighed and sat on the staircase, exhausted. Phew, that was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
I swear to God!
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
She handled herself the best she could.
As expected, princess.
Aw, Erik, thank you.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Ugh.
Sam, you opened a pair of doors earlier. You're free to walk out whenever you want.
Hush, Sam.
Yeah, tell him, Erik. Tell him. Are you guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. The voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked, alongside the incubi. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
All of us shot our heads towards the doors, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would have never expected to see. Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercing into mine, roughened up clothes and a pistol in his hand. I saw a monster. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dried blood covered the bandana around his neck as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned man was a similar-looking woman in matching thug-like clothes.
Oh, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face, instantly pulled the trigger. Is Sam finally dead? We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face. But... Oh, don't tell me but. I was hoping a bullet through Sam's face would have been so perfect. But...
What the fuck?
What?
What should have been a headshot ended with a loud but empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over in aggravation. Luckily for my ears, it became quieter after its first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, Shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Ah!
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malix.
Malix? That was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked to Matthew in the same confusion as Malix did. This place is protected by... magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malix's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
And what's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malix and the boys. With no power, Malix wasn't going to fight. I took that chance to stand up to him instead of being powerless like I was in the dream. Oh, I don't remember which one I chose. Well, let's be firm but polite. Get out of my house! Malix growled at me, walking right up to me and leaning close to my face. I glared back, feeling my courage skyrocket.
Since when does a little stain like you give orders to a guy who can rip your pretty little head from your body?
You really don't think, do you? You really don't think, do you? If you kill me, you'd be hunted down by more than just the police.
You little...
Oh. Are you stuck? I ducked underneath Malix's incoming hand. I stared at his and his black flame tattoo in surprise as I took a couple steps back from Malix. Matthew and Damien stepped in front of me, guarding me from Malix with their arms.
A quick one. I'm liking you more and more.
Back off, Malix!
Don't start acting tough, you pathetic excuse of a demon. You need more protection than her.
Shut up!
Oh, did I make the little Matthew cry? What?
Oh, shit. Clicked it. Whatever.
Enough, Malix.
The woman who had been standing in silence the whole time planted a firm hand on Malix's shoulder. Malix looked back at her with a growl and a glare that could kill.
Since when did you get the guts to speak out of place?
Ooh.
We both know you've never controlled me. I want them dead just like you do. But now's not the time.
Fuck off! I know what I'm doing.
Do you? Even if you did fight them, there's 5 against 2. We never win.
Shut up!
Let's go, Malix! We're wasting our time!
Damn, are demons always so shouty? All demons just like scream on the top of their heads. The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense that fire would glow from under their teeth. Malix grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
Not a bad laugh, I have to say. Then, Malix turned to me, moving his finger to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
With that, Malix and the women walked out of the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees give out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me.
Whoa, whoa! Are you alright?
Yeah. Why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
We should have stopped him and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil? There's a difference?
Yes. Demons come from a different plane of existence called the Abyssal Planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know. It's hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. Lovely. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
I couldn't believe my ears. It was the 3rd day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
Kick his ass right now!
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he?
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I mostly felt safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least, I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never been able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did this all even happen? Should I really meddle with this Should I really meddle with this situation? They're only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I have to care for the house all on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. My life. Where was I? Wow, I can read. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever. You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
I want to be with you.
I love you.
I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m.? Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's so early to even be alive. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across from my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m. in the morning? And if I recall, this doesn't really matter. I don't know which one I chose last time, so let's make some coffee. Maybe I should rewatch those old versions so I can choose new options for you guys. I decided to making coffee was my best bet in surviving the rest of the day. Why not? Haven't had coffee in forever. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen, unconcerned that I was in pajama pants and a tank top. I rummaged through the cabinets for a coffee machine and any makings for a coffee. Surely my grandfather had some. A French press? Well, it's better than nothing. As I began to make my coffee, I checked my email and texts on my phone. No new important emails, no text messages. I sighed. I quickly made my coffee just how I liked it and sat on the counter. But then, I began to wonder, would this happen every day? I let the question linger in my mind. For a whole morning, I did not think once about the boys or Malix. Everything was peaceful. Everything was average. Nothing magical or dangerous or unusual. I simply drank my coffee as I let the thought marinate in the back of my mind. I returned to bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. We just had coffee! Why would this work? I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes. Back to sleep. Even though I had coffee. Please let me sleep. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check the time once again. It was noon, yet it felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed into normal clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. Huh? I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all five of the boys practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other four surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each almost masterfully. And again, doesn't matter which one we choose, but I'll leave them be. They're trying to focus. Focus. Can't disturb them, especially Erik. I bay. I just watched. The boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they were all in. It was better not to disturb them. I checked the time and decided to head inside to the kitchen. I was getting hungry, and I'm sure the boys would need to eat soon. So lunch was a must. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make pizza! Pizza! Pizza is always good no matter what time of day it is. Do we have any? Luckily, we had some pizza in the freezer to heat up. Pizza Mo's baked with love pizza! Had all the makings of the pizza types, including pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, and extra cheese. Just top it, bake it, and serve it. I'd have to get more later. I placed the food in the dining room. However, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hands and to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. Oh, you know which one we're going to choose. Come on now. And yeah, this does matter depending, depending if you want to go with the incubi or not, so. Find the incubi. I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. I returned to the backyard hoping to find an incubus still there. Luckily, my gut feeling was right. Erik was beside the gazebo, looking at a small flower that was growing on the railing of it. As I approached, Erik turned his head and smiled his usual smile.
Hello, Princess.
Hey, Erik. I got some lunch for you.
Really? You did not have to do that, Princess.
No, it's fine. Here. I mean, you guys cook for me, I cook for you. It's a 50-50 share deal. Come on now. Erik smiled and took his food, eating a little bit before looking to the flower again. Out of curiosity, I looked as well. It was a simple white daisy in full bloom. Erik shook his head and chuckled softly as I joined him in the flower gazing.
Sorry, I was simply reminded of home.
Huh? Oh no, you're fine. What about home were you reminded of? Erik looked to the sky with a soft sigh and smile before looking to the flower again.
The castle, mainly. Despite us not being there anymore, it was still our home. We grew up there our entire lives as brothers. There wasn't a day that went by when we weren't all doing something exciting. It was an empty excitement, of course, but it was still something that bonded us all together.
Erik slightly trailed off, looking lost in the nostalgia of his thoughts. I didn't know if I wanted to bother him while he remembered something so obviously important to him. And again, these options do matter, and so we shall choose. Please, tell me more. I want some more. Erik turned again to me with a slightly surprised look.
You wish to know more?
Why not? I'm really curious about the place you lived in. Erik nodded before looking to the flower again. After a second, he gained a look of realization before looking to me again.
Would you like me to show you something instead?
I tilted my head in confusion, but nodded nonetheless. What I was expecting could not have prepared me for what I saw. Erik gently brushed his fingers against the petals of the daisy, making it gently quake at his touch. As the daisy abnormally shivered, its petals shifted from white to purple. The yellow center gently faded to a pink hue as the stem began to burn black. I could only stare as Erik plucked the flower from its place and presented it to me.
Watch closely.
I kept my eyes to the flower as Erik began to mutter something. It sounded close to Latin, but I wasn't sure. Regardless, the flower began to glow in Erik's hand. Small crystal-like spores floated up from the pink center and began to form a circle in the air. As the circle closed, the center filled with smoke, forming a screen of some sort. It was misty, so I couldn't see anything. What is this?
Just watch.
I raised an eyebrow, but I followed his instruction. Eventually the fist faded away, revealing a large throne room. It was all of stone and tile, with the throne itself covered in red fabric and gold metal. Despite it being a mere image in a magic mirror, I felt small looking at the side of the throne room. Wow! That looks amazing!
That's our castle. It's a wonderful place. Servants and parties galore.
Does your father sit on the throne when he's at the parties?
Very much so. He despises dancing and socializing, so he makes the throne his home.
Kitty, get off me. Sorry, my cat decided to attack my foot. Actually, that's a good time for that, Kitty. I appreciate it. Anyway, do you think he's still there now? I must have struck a small chord with Erik, because he hesitated before responding. Erik smiled only slightly.
We don't know. When we left, we didn't look back. However, we are sure he's still there, since no one followed us out of the abyssal plains.
I bit my lip. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. I felt really bad. However, I didn't feel it for long. The magic suddenly stopped and faded away while Erik dropped the daisy. As the daisy turned back to its white and yellow color, Erik dropped to a knee, groaning in pain. Erik, are you alright?
Yes, Princess. I'm fine. I just used too much energy, that's all.
I dropped to a knee to try and examine Erik closer. His face was pale while his purplish eyes shifted back and forth between purple and gold. His breath was heavy, which concerned me. He used too much energy? That meant he needed more.
Please don't worry, Princess. I'm fine. Don't worry your beautiful head about it.
And this does matter, and I believe I choose kiss him. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Yep, that was the right choice. There you go. I felt responsible. I had to help. I quickly grabbed Erik's face and tilted his head to angle with mine. I shifted myself closer. I brought my lips to his and kissed him deeply. I didn't know if this would help, but it was how he got energy before. I shut my eyes, waiting for the draining feeling to reappear in my body. However, Erik grabbed my shoulders and forced me back. I opened my eyes and stared into his frightened golden eyes in surprise. At the same time, I noticed a pink hue run across Erik's cheek. Her face. Oh, Erik, you blushing boy!
Princess? What are you doing?
I don't know why, but I felt both irritated and accomplished at the question and the look he was giving me. Where was his flirting? Where was his cocky smirk? From what I remembered, he took advantage of me when we met, yet now he was somehow acting inferior to me. I grabbed his hands and removed them from my shoulders, tingling my fingers with his. I'm trying to help and give you some of my energy. You used your energy to show me that sight, so I want to pay you back for that. Unless you don't want me to help.
Well, I've already taken your energy once before.
Well, why don't you do it again, baby boy? That was before. I want to give you energy now. Just let me. All of a sudden, I felt that familiar feeling of warmth run through my body once again. I felt my body slightly heat up as Erik quickly released my hands and wrapped them around my waist, dropping to both knees in front of me. He stared at me with desire in his gaze as he pulled my body to his. Erik leaned his forehead to mine, letting the tips of our noses gently caress each other as he spoke.
You spoil me.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! We're getting some action with Erik! Yeah! Again, I apologize, but not really. Before I knew it, I was on top of Erik as he laid on the grass below. I stared wide-eyed as he pulled me into a hot and passionate kiss with a gentle hand on the back of my head. Erik's other hand rested on the small of my back while I rested my hands on his chest. I moved myself to straddle his hips to be comfortable in the kiss. The energy from my body was slowly draining, making me feel light and warm. It was almost pitiful how comfortable and how willing I was in this situation. Still, I held no regrets. I was enjoying every bit of this kiss. While Erik held me, he gently rolled us both over so he was on top of me, kissing me hotly and holding me tightly. I was tempted to wrap my legs around him, but I remained focused on the kiss. It was better that I was on the bottom anyway, with my energy slowly fading from my body. However, the draining feeling suddenly stopped as Erik pulled away and looked down at me. I stared up at him as we both panted for air. I had never kissed like that before, and I was so lost in the moment that I had forgotten how to breathe. Erik, however, didn't move for me. He moved a strand of hair from my face, eyes still full of desire.
I'm completely full, and yet I still desire you.
I could feel the hold of his mind altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if I truly did want to give any more. Oh, you know we're gonna keep going. Come on now, for reals. I opened the opportunity, and I was enjoying it as much as he was. I wanted more, and I was going to let him keep going. I wanted to keep going. I reached up, pulled him down, and kissed him, giving him silent approval to keep going. I could feel him pull on the tail of my bow, releasing it and following his hand off from around my neck. He moved the ribbon to the ground beside me before gently unbuttoning the top buttons of my blouse, stopping at the buttons above my stomach. The desire in my body drove me insane, forcing a moan to escape my lips as he ran kisses from my lips to my exposed neck. As he began to ravish my neck and shoulder in hot kisses, I leaned my head back against the grass and let a pleasurable sigh escape my lips. Erik was ruthless in his passionate kisses on my skin. Erik didn't stop touching and kissing me, making sure moans and gasps rushed out of my mouth into the open air. He was full, but he was as hot as I was. You better believe he's hot. I couldn't even comprehend how much time we spent making out. I was so lost in the pleasure that I didn't care. Call it sinful, but I didn't care. I loved it. His touch, his kiss, his heat. I desired it beyond anything at that moment, even as he lowered his kisses down to my chest to just above my bra. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. Something about Erik intrigued me immensely, but something made my heart quicken for him. It couldn't have been love. I was too passionate to be lust. What was it? However, I began to feel dizzy, seeing the sky start to spin almost wildly. I gripped onto Erik's shoulders, trying to signal him to stop, but my mind faded to black before I could let out another sigh. I felt good. I didn't care that I was blacked out. I felt warm and fuzzy in the darkness. I never knew indulging in that kind of passion would be that good. I now just waited to be... Wow, fuck, I can read. Ugh. I now just waited to awaken, hopefully in a good way. My eyes eventually fluttered open, adjusting to the sight around me. I felt familiar sucks underneath me, letting me know that I was in my bed. I slowly sat up, stretching from the tiredness that still lingered. I felt a very soft pain in my neck and shoulders, and I could feel my swollen lips pulse gently and healing. However, when I looked down at my body, I saw that my shirt had been pulled back up and rebuttoned as if nothing happened between me and Erik. I was just missing my ribbon. Before I turned to get out of bed, though, I spotted my ribbon on the pillow beside the one I slept on. It was tied in a nice bow around the daisy Erik had picked with a small note attached to it. I gently slipped the note from the tie and opened it to read it.
You've spoiled me, my princess. I am eternally grateful that you let me indulge like that. Have a good rest.
I stared at the note, letting a small smile grace my lips. Spoiled him? I joined it despite the first time circumstance. It was cute, though, to imagine him thanking me for something we both did and enjoyed. I brought the daisy to my nose and gently inhaled its soft fragrance, letting the memories of our meeting flood my mind. I indulged myself too, Erik. I looked at the time out of curiosity. The large white numbers on my phone showed 5:31 p.m. Yikes! 4 hours of being knocked out, and I'm still feel tired? It was Sunday, so I allowed to sleep longer if I wanted to. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but it felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still, I felt lonely. I couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed for that night. I felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I had. I felt good. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly that next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep? I looked to my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky today. Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserved to get some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text. Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time. 6:30. Perfect! I can eat some breakfast before they come. I packed my bag and carried it downstairs towards the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon sitting on the table. A fresh steaming cup of coffee set next to the plate with a sugar and creamer on the side. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who made this? As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention. Have a good day. Yours. My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him? Erik, a senpai. Please notice me. Just kidding. That made me so old. God. I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating up. The food was so delicious. I devoured every amazing bite. I looked at the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? I turned to see Erik, who was holding my hand, back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't Erik, miss. I want you to know my real name, if something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? Erik gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Uzeiris.
As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure I would never forget it. Erik pulled away and smiled at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
I stared up at Erik, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Erik smiled before kissing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used, eventually. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework in the coming day. We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Ow!
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
The three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had a look of complete innocence, while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little... Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent, and one of her grooms did it, it was now obvious that Lisette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. Well, like I said, we could get her, but it just creates an extra scene, an extra time, which I will save for later. For now, let's just try to cut on as much time as possible, and stand up and walk away like Shui. No. I wasn't going to bring myself to her level. She was a bully, but I was not going to let her get to me. I had to be stronger than her, and only then would I have beaten her. I stood up and brushed myself off, pretending nothing had happened.
Anderson, you okay? That was a pretty bad fall.
Yeah, I'm fine. A fall like that is nothing. I merely smiled at them, not wanting to let them know the pain rushing through my body from that fall. My arms were quaking, my shoulders were pulsing, but I remained content-faced. I quickly gathered up my belongings and nodded to my two friends. Come on, we'll be late for history. Suzu and Naomi looked at each other before frowning and nodding to me. Naomi and Suzu flanked me as we began to walk to class, away from the gaggle of bullies. As we walked, I could barely see Suzu flipping the middle finger to the group behind us from the corner of my eye.
Friggin' bunch of Lisette feet lickers.
That's gross, Suzu.
It's true. It's all OMG! Lisette is the best! Let's follow her around because we obviously don't have lives.
Well said, Liz Suzu. Naomi and I could not help but laugh. The group behind us, however, did not like Suzu's words.
At least my dad doesn't screw around in the black market to keep a stupid casino running.
Oh. Suzu stopped. Naomi and I stopped as well to look back at Suzu, who was completely red in anger. Suzu slowly turned around turned ahead to the group, glaring daggers at him.
The fuck did you just say?
Oh! She said it! Oh! said the F-bomb! You guys are in trouble! I had to act fast. I placed my hand on Suzu's shoulder and gripped tightly, knowing she would try to push my hand away. Suzu, they're not worth it. Let's just go.
No, I think it's about time we taught them some manners.
Suzu.
I looked at Lisette and her group. Lisette had a wildly amused smile on her face, which irked me to no end. Nevertheless, I knew that fighting wasn't going to get us anywhere. Let's go. I grabbed Suzu by the shoulder roughly, pulling her back to Naomi and me. Suzu tried to step towards the group, but Naomi held onto her other shoulder. We held on to Suzu, who fought against our hands as we marched to class. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Huh? A text? From Dad? I'll pick you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Yeah. Alright. And again, it's weird that my dad is texting me. What the heck? Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this? Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Suzu before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I need to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert. Eventually, I played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? Dad's never late, especially not this late. I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read a signal disconnection error message. What the? No signal error? How do I not have a signal? I double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for a signal. He must be in a dead zone. Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed into the hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary, feeling their hands on me. I needed it to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up Malix's prey!
The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded, and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere, and was shoved into something that echoed the interior of a bus or a van. The doors closed, and off I was taken, unsure of where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. And with that, we're going to end it for today's episode. Give a little say right here. So great. As the demon said, they'd come back for us. And they did. But as I said, that's it for today's episode. We're pretty much nearing that mark time that I like to stop at. So thank you all for watching. I am Tara the Fox. You are the lovely, ever so beautiful viewer. And I hope to see you next time.